What's going on? Welcome back to another exciting episode of Attack Productions. I got Jimmy with us today.
Yes, sir.
And he's brought us Oryx and Capital. If you're not familiar with that one, look up some old videos. It's an old reference to a unique leader. Before we get into the profile, there's buttons down below. Feel free to click them. They're there for a reason. But Jimmy played this weekend, and he played it because TCG Metals sent us something special. One of them was a metal leader. And look at that thing.
Just absolutely beautiful. When we got that package in, Bancroft was parading around showing everybody, and I was like, yo, that Dark Broly is so fucking sick. And it's just so dope. This one, it stood out to me. It was really dope that they actually printed the errata text onto the card, which is like just super dope to me. I love that. Because I would have straight up forgot about that because of how much I played this leader before the errata, especially on the Dark Broly cards themselves. But people kind of wrote this deck off, to be honest, after all the erratas and there's stuff like Xenoku and Gogeta Xeno that are just kind of play this deck better. But still, all the Dark Broly cards are super dope and fun. If you don't know what he does, he plays with 30Ks, so you strike a life, you look at the top 5, put 30Ks into your drop area. When you attack, draw 1 card, awaken, draw 2. On the backside, you will pull 3 30Ks back from your warp to your drop area, draw a card, and then once per turn, this is where the errata is, you can use a 30K in your battle area or your hand and give your leader card plus 5K, which is relevant because all of the Dark Broly cards have no combo power, which we will get into. But absolutely love the leader. The art's amazing. I was so hyped to be able to replay this deck, especially with the dope leader. But going into the Dark Broly package, for the SRs, this guy, he just warps something on play. These have been errated. They do cost 1 to activate main, 1 black energy, and you send 6 black battle cards. Does not have to be 30Ks. Remember that. I lost a game because I forgot about that clause. On play, he just warps something off the field, which is great. This guy, he's the weakest of all the Dark Brolys. He is just a 30K blocker. You basically just play him to have the 30K number. Also just basically a 30K skillless swing. Because you don't want to block in this deck. You want to turn cards sideways. The best of the Dark Brolys, Revived Ravager, or Demon Realm Ravager, I apologize. This card is just absurdly good. Activate main 1 black energy, exact same as all of these. All of these play from the drop by sending 6 black battle cards. But he will warp something out of your opponent's drop area, then your opponent will warp something out of their hand. So this is just like the best, just the best one to play early game because they're not going to have anything established. That warping is going to be important. You have other options to warp cards. So this is the guy that you're going to be playing most of the time. And the only reason that you do a 4-1-4 split is because this one's just weak and doesn't really do anything. Another 30K Dark Broly. This one's slightly different. This guy, he's Deflect Unique. He has EX Evolve for 2 on top of a Dark Broly. Permanent, this card's also treated as black. It is a red card, which is odd for the deck. But then when he is played, he targets 1 from the hand, the drop, and the battle area, warps it. If your opponent does not meet that requirement, you hit their life. So you do have to evolve on top of a Broly for 2 energy, which 2 energy is kind of steep in this deck sometimes, but you're still playing it for the number, and it's also relevant for another card I run in the deck based off of the color. But he's a good option if you have the energy and the space to do it in. But speaking of relevant, Heartfelt Plea, this card's absurdly good. It blows up a 25K or higher on when you awaken your leader. Comes out offering triple strike, 30K triple strike. You can't target it off your leader because it has to be black, but still it's a 30K, so I'll put it with a bunch of 30Ks. But if you want to tap to evolve, you might be able to hit a life. You might hit 3 cards out of different areas from your opponent and then slam this right behind, which is just a huge power play. And one of my favorite plays to make in the deck, even though it's not always going to happen because you have to draw into it and you have to have the setup to be able to do it. More honorary Dark Broly cards. Beyond All Limits, it's a Goku, Overwhelm 6. Pick up something from your warp. Not much else to say about it. You know what this card does. Same with Fang Greeting. It's another 30K. Pick up some, or not pick up something, but you put your 1 card from your opponent's hand to the warp. Again, Overwhelm 6 for free, and it's a 30k, which is relevant, and it's also a Goku and Vegeta for another card, and if you know what black is in this game, then you know exactly what card I'm talking about. Demigra. This card's just absurd. Bancroft is...
I was expecting you to do the other one.
Expecting me to do the other one? I'll get to it. I'm edging right now. Overwhelm or Dark Overwhelm, you're going to be Dark Overwhelming this because you want this to stick. Blows up something on field, draws you a card, and when he swings, he warps a card out of your opponent's hand. And he's a 30k. He's literally everything you could ever want in an Overwhelm card. This is, in my opinion, this is easily the best Overwhelm in the game. The only thing that's bad about him is that you have to tap 2 for him, but you're getting like 6 energy worth of value off of him most games. Because if he sticks around with Dark Overwhelm, it's like every turn he's just going to be doing something. And one last 30k, Brainwash No More. He will also pull back cards to the drop area to fuel more Overwhelm plays or more Dark Broly plays, and then he has a cute little Activate Battle where you can tap 1 crit a life, and then you don't take damage from the attack. Which is kind of, it's cute. Most of the time you're just going to walk yourself into losing the game based off of that, but it's there if you need it. Most of the time you're just going to be slamming this for Overwhelm. Plus he's a 30k, so... But that's the bulk of the deck is just 30Ks, just to be able to fuel your game plan. The card that I'm gonna finally give you the payoff. It's Thwarting. They're cheap now. Don't complain about it. This card just kind of needs to go because every black deck is just how easily are you going to be able to make Thwarting in the list, and that's how good the deck is going to be. This deck makes it fairly easily. You do have to do a little bit of work of getting it into the warp to be able to fuse from there. But it's not all that big of a deal because you're going to be putting cards in the warp anyway. But it's a double strike, warp something off the field, 25k, kind of absurdly gross. One additional fusion. We have Fearless Fusion. Barrier removal, blocker, can move cards from your warp back to your drop area for more fuel. You probably could argue just go to a 4th Thwarting because there were some games where I did not see Thwarting the entire game. So there is an argument for that, but I just like having the additional barrier removal. Most of the time, I'm never blocking with this. I'm just turning the sideways on my opponent. A huge new addition. Super Saiyan God Trunks. This card is just... This card was just made for this deck. Deflect, dual attack, permanent. If he's removed from the battle area, he's just removed from the game. Simple. An auto on every attack, he will move 3 cards from your warp back to your drop area, which I don't need to tell you why that's good. And then activate main for 2 black energy. If you have 8 or more cards in your warp, you just play this guy out from it. So pretty much once you get this guy established on your field, you never have to worry about counting cards in your drop area and warp because he will just fix all of the numbers for you no matter what. And you will just... This card is just fantastic for the list. There's argument to go up on him, but I found that 2 just felt really good today. I'll probably side like a 3rd maybe, and then just feel it out, and it might find its way into the main board. Super combos. They're super combos. 2 pseudo combos. When you're going for game, you will get low cards in hand because you're just comboing everything out. And she's just a pseudo combo if you have 5 or less cards in the hand. 2 super Kamehamehas. Stop floodgates. Just not much else to say about it. You just want to get rid of floodgates. In some matchups, you can get rid of problem cards like the Trunks Vegeta matchup. Just striking out the 3-drop Trunks is very, very strong. Other than that, just for floodgates. For our defensive package, Support of Dark Empire, just token negate. It's good. It's not fantastic against red, but it's pretty good against everything else. 2 Kai, you're going to have cards in your warp at pretty much all times, so she's going to be live, and she's, again, kind of like a double negate, because she negates the attack, then she warps something off the field, so it's very similar to this. You negate the attack, put a blocker out, it's just going to block the next attack. And plus, she's the body on field to combo with later, which is kind of relevant, because comboing can be kind of tough sometimes, especially with the errata on the backside. 2 Protector, I will probably just take this card out completely. I don't know what I'll replace it with, but at least at my locals, there's not a lot of like wide aggro to make this card relevant. This is just a sideboard card to me, but negate the attack, choose your leader card. It will gain 5k every time your opponent attacks with a battle card, which most of the time, if your opponent knows that you have this in your list, they're just going to attack with all of their battle cards first, so they don't give you any extra power off of like their leader or unison swing. Card that kind of overperformed and then also underperformed at the same time. Darkness Blastinger. This is just to activate battle. It gives a card plus 10,000 and then gives your leader card plus 5k for the turn. So it's just basically a black Sensu Bean, but it doesn't have any of the other good things about Sensu Bean. It just has the like plus 5k, and paired with this, it can be pretty good in some matchups. But most of the time, this is just kind of dead in my hand or being bottom decked with my super combo, or at worst, just being charged. So this might go to the sideboard as well for like the 15k like AOD aggro type stuff. Or if I just really, really need to be able to swing high, I might throw these in with like maybe some Majin Buu human extinction attacks.
I mean, like, I knew what the deck did.
2 gravy. You want to be cycling cards from your back to your drop area, so he's just super relevant. I'm definitely going to find room for a third one because every game that I've seen him, he did absolute amazing work. You can just tap 2 to play this one out, so every time you swing with him, you get that effect. But most of the time, you don't have the energy to do that, so you're just comboing them off. One of my favorite techs, this is a tech that's kind of been around for a little while. It really didn't see much play in Dark Broly, but the Venture Begins package. Since your leader is going to be bottom decking a lot of your top 5 cards, having a way to just be able to shuffle the deck for free multiple turns is really, really nice, and you just have to pay the 1 energy investment into this guy. And most of the time, this kind of becomes like a red herring as well, because your opponent is scared of what this card might do if they don't understand why you're running it. I'm pretty sure Bancroft knew, but I remember I dropped it against him. He was like, that's a guy. Like, you know,
I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, so in certain matchups, this might be able to trick your opponent into thinking that you're playing something that you might not be playing. And let them walk into dealing with a 1-drop 5k that's only shuffling your deck every turn instead of dealing with like the 30k smacking them in the dick. The second activate main is irrelevant. You're just using it to search the deck for a ball, which we do run 1 ball just to have something to search and thin out the deck a little bit. And then if you play it right, you can just keep cycling this ball back from your hand to the drop area over and over again, and just kind of get pretty much infinite value off of this as far as the game goes. But this is just a nice deck to be able to shuffle your deck when you bottom deck something good. And speaking of good, we have stuff like Kai, Double Strike. I usually run Champa. I just threw this one in because this was already in the sleeve when I unsleeved this deck. You just want a Double Striker, that's all it is. And then Pan, I see a lot of people running Kai in this list, which I tend to agree with because it doesn't require either your opponent to have cards on field, or it doesn't require you to build a field. But I do love just being able to slam Pan for free in certain situations, and also just having like a nice battle card floodgate is huge sometimes, especially because our defensive package is not the greatest compared to a lot of other decks in the meta currently.
Yep. Well, with that being said, thank you, Jimmy. Put something in the comments if you want to put something there. Hit buttons, are there for a reason. But read your cards, know your plays, and fluff out.